You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist.
And we're going to make Israel great again, and we're going to make America great again. We're going to make them both great again, greater than ever before.
As long as I'm a United States Senator, I will do everything in my power to ensure broad and bipartisan support for Israel's security.
He has an AIPAC person.
What does that mean, an AIPAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your AIPAC babysitter, who is always talking to you for AIPAC. They're probably a constituent in your district, but they are, firmly embedded in AIPAC. And
every member has something like this?
I may be the only Republican in Congress who hasn't done homework.
For decades, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, or AIPAC, has epitomized the power of Washington lobbying. Through its deep congressional alliances, strategic lobbying, and mastery of traditional media, but today, this legacy is being challenged as social media, especially platforms like TikTok and Instagram, reshapes how Americans, particularly the young, engage with politics. Unlike conventional media, where AIPAC could carefully guide the narrative, social media is decentralized. User-driven nature has opened the door to alternative perspectives. For AIPAC, this new media landscape is a double-edged sword. How does an organization that built its power in the age of television and print maintain influence in an era of hashtags and viral videos? AIPAC's struggle isn't unique. Other powerful lobbying groups, the National Rifle Association, NRA, and the American Petroleum Institute, API, for example, are facing similar challenges. All three organizations have built their influence through decades of cultivating close ties in Congress, shaping public opinion through media, and maintaining unwavering support for their causes. Yet, as the digital age drives a new form of activism, these giants of traditional lobbying are being forced to adapt. While the NRA has successfully pivoted its message around ideas of freedom and self-defense to resonate with new audiences, and API has tapped into themes like energy independence to maintain relevance, AIPAC challenge is even greater. U.S.-Israel relations are complex and often polarizing, making it harder to distill AIPAC's message into a narrative that clicks with younger, digitally savvy audiences. Nowhere is this shift more evident than in the rise of hashtag movements like hashtag Free Palestine and hashtag Save Sheikh Jarrah, which have gone viral on TikTok, drawing attention from millions around the globe. A 2022 study by Media Matters found that hashtag Free Palestine content had accumulated over 2 billion views on TikTok, with 73% of this content critical of U.S. policy toward Israel. This level of engagement shows that these movements, driven by Gen Z and amplified by the viral power of social media, can reshape the conversation on Middle Eastern policy. Unlike traditional lobbying efforts, which typically reach policymakers and news consumers, these hashtag movements create an ecosystem where ideas spread rapidly and organically, reaching audiences that AIPAC has struggled to engage. This new ecosystem is also heavily influenced by social media influencers. In a 2023 civic science survey, more than half of Gen Z respondents reported that they trust influencers on political issues as much as or more than mainstream media. For AIPAC, accustomed to shaping narratives through conventional news outlets, these independent voices are difficult to reach. Many influencers advocating for Palestinian rights have seen engagement rates almost double those of pro-Israel content, underscoring the depth of resonance with young, values-driven audiences. In contrast, the NRA and API have adapted to this new landscape by working with influencers and tapping into digital communities that align with their messages on gun rights and energy policy. AIPAC, however, has found it harder to navigate this terrain where U.S.-Israel policy issues often spark intense debate and where audiences are increasingly skeptical of traditional institutions. In response, AIPAC has launched campaigns on Instagram and Twitter, emphasizing themes of shared values between the U.S. and Israel. Yet, the data suggests these efforts are struggling to connect with younger users. Social Blade data reveals that AIPAC's posts receive 40% less engagement from users under 30 compared to users over 40, highlighting a generational divide that other lobby groups have managed to bridge with more tailored messaging. While the NRA, for instance, can evoke themes of individual rights and self-defense that resonate across age groups, AIPAC's focus on foreign policy issues that may feel removed from young Americans' daily lives presents a steeper challenge. Complicating this further is the issue of content moderation on platforms like Instagram and Facebook. Posts tagged #FreePalestine are disproportionately flagged for review or removal compared to pro-Israel content, according to a 2022 Electronic Frontier Foundation report, which found these posts 1.4 times more likely to be flagged. This phenomenon has sparked heated debates over freedom of speech and digital censorship, with some critics suggesting that lobbying groups may indirectly influence how certain content is moderated. While the NRA has also raised concerns about perceived bias in moderation, AIPAC's reliance on content control contrasts with other lobby groups' strategies of adapting their message to appeal more broadly, rather than relying on restricting discourse. In this evolving landscape, the nature of influence itself is changing. For AIPAC, and indeed all legacy lobbying groups, power is increasingly defined not just by financial clout or political access, but by the ability to connect authentically with a diverse, digitally empowered public. The rise of social media has redefined what it means to influence and mobilize support, shifting the balance toward voices that resonate with younger generations. For AIPAC, the challenge is clear: adapt and connect with the shifting values and expectations of this new audience, or risk watching its traditional power erode in an era where authenticity, accessibility, and engagement are the new currency of influence.
Already started to spend against me in this race upwards of $20 million. Our democracy is not for sale. I need your help.
AIPAC has already said they're going to spend over $20 million to try to buy this seat from the people in the district, simply because we support a permanent ceasefire in Gaza.